New York. It's not just bagels there. The pizza in this place they're very particular about. Crisp, crackly crust, charred on the bottom, cheesy on top, pizza purity at its heart. Some people say Connecticut does it better. I say New York does it better. So let's make it, shall we? First, we're going to prep an artisanal dough. Then we'll blend a very easy tomato sauce combined with our custom blend of cheese before assembling our final pizza and baking it just using a home oven. But first, before we get into it, there's a big announcement. We have been nominated for a Webby Award, but in order to win, we need your vote. Please click the link in the description and vote for me. It should take you straight there, but if it doesn't, here's how you find me. So obviously hit the link in the description. When you're there, hit categories, click creators, scroll down till you find food and drink, click, and vote for me, please. Now, let's make this pizza dough. Okay, pizza dough, you can do this by hand, by the way. You don't have to use a stand mixer. Don't yell at me. First, you're gonna combine 810 grams of bread flour. The reason we're using grams, not cups, grams, please, is because this is essentially a bread recipe. And with bread recipes, you want as much accuracy as possible. Then you're gonna add 90 grams of the nicest whole wheat flour you can find. If you have a local company that mills their own, do that, because it's gonna add some flavor to this pizza dough that you didn't even know it had. I'm using your Cora Rojo from Barton Springs Mills in Austin. Next, you'll add 14 grams of sugar, and I know this seems like a lot, 31 grams of kosher salt. It sounds like it's gonna be too salty, you just gotta trust me on it. I'm gonna start mixing this. I wanna get it all combined, and while that's going, I have 576 grams of water, and to that, either 8 grams of fresh yeast in there, or 5 grams of instant yeast if you can't find fresh, although fresh is what's recommended. Dissolve that in there. Once it's dissolved, you're just gonna stir in a nice 27 grams of extra virgin olive oil. All right, so with this mixing on low speed, I'm gonna add my water. If you're mixing by hand, just keep mixing by hand until you reach a shaggy dough. And then once you get to a shaggy dough, you're just gonna let that mix or knead by hand until nice and smooth, about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, she's pretty much there. So dump this bad boy out. Let's just take a quick look at her. Oh yeah, dude. Smooth, nice, supple. I'm just giving it a light extra knead just to make sure we're good, but it's looking nice and smooth. It doesn't need to be perfect. Got a little bowl over here, got our little dough. Form that into a rough ball. Take our bowl, lightly grease it. Dough goes in. Now we're gonna cover that completely with plastic wrap so it doesn't dry out. And you don't need to worry about this being too perfectly kneaded. You just want it as smooth as you can get it. Don't over knead it because it's gonna sit in the fridge minimum overnight, up to 24 hours. Very important note. I know what you're thinking. God, I have to do this a day ahead. Yes, you have to do this one ahead. I'm not providing an alternative. The only way to really get that flavor is to let it age overnight. That's the only way. You could hypothetically let this sit at room temperature and let it go really fast. But again, you're not gonna get that ultimate texture. So plan ahead. Now once your dough is risen, lightly flour top your dough, degas it a little bit. You're gonna pop that bad boy out. Ooh, this dough feels good. You hear that? That's a good plop. So you can divide this into 2 pieces and have a really big pie that's like 19 inches. That's a lot more like New York. And if you don't have a baking steel large enough to fit that, you can always scale these pieces of dough to be smaller. I would recommend maybe 300 to 400 gram pieces, which will yield 4, maybe 5 pieces of dough total, which will get you like a 14 to 16 inch pie. The amount of weight in the dough is irrelevant. Just be aware that the less dough, the smaller the pizza. Now, to pre-shape your dough, this is extremely important, okay? Make sure all that gas is out. It's gonna be really cold, which will make it a lot easier to handle, right? If this was not cold, it would be way stickier. So you're gonna take the sides, stretch, pull to the center, stretch, pull to the center. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Make sure there's not too much flour on this side. If there is, it won't quite adhere the way you want. Bring that bad boy together. You can kind of pinch it together. And once you have this sort of sack, you're gonna flip that over, seam side down. Using your pinky fingers, keep constant contact with the board, and you're gonna kind of slide the dough ball around and allow it to pull itself underneath itself. So that dough is essentially folding in to itself repeatedly and getting tension. That way you get a nice tight ball. If you have a lot of air bubbles, just kind of spank them out. I'm not even joking, like that actually does help. Now you don't want to do this too long, otherwise it'll tear, just until you have a nice, smooth, tight ball. There we go, look at that. That's a nice, smooth, tight ball in comparison to this. So in a proofing box, or you can even use a baking sheet, that's fine too. Proofing box is a lot easier. You can get these on Amazon, it's not that hard to find. If you want to find them, links in the description. So a little bit of bread flour, dust the bottom of your proofing box or baking sheet. Take your dough ball, place it in there. Now just repeat with the rest of your dough. Now once that's done, you're then going to cover it with a lid, which comes with the proofing box, that's why I love these, or you can just cover it with greased plastic wrap. Let that sit at room temperature for 3 to 5 hours to proof, or you could possibly do it overnight in the fridge. again if you don't want to bake it same day. The sauce is really simple. You don't even need to cook it. How beautiful is that? A 28-ounce can of crushed San Marzano tomatoes. Oh, why are you putting it into a blender? Because I want it extra smooth. 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 3 cloves of whole garlic, that'll get eviscerated in there, half a teaspoon of sugar, the tiniest amount. All we're doing is curbing some of that acidity. It's not meant to add any sweetness whatsoever. Half a teaspoon in comparison to all of this. And I do have an exact amount of salt, and that's gonna be 2.5 teaspoons of kosher salt. Now just give that a rip till it's smooth as possible. Just like that, you have a beautiful pizza sauce that's gonna work perfectly. Oh, why is it raw? What if it doesn't have enough flavor, blah, blah, blah. First of all, I could eat that with a spoon and I would be very happy. Second of all, there's such a thin layer on the pizza and the pizza's gonna cook for so long that this sauce is going to cook on the pizza. You don't wanna put cooked sauce and then cook it again. It's gonna taste ketchup-y and we don't want that. Now, cheese might not seem that important, but it is. And I have a mix of 3 different kinds of cheese for a very specific effect. We have 2 cups of low moisture mozzarella and 2 cups of full fat mozzarella. The low moisture gets you that cheese pull nice, but the full fat is gonna give you that unctuous, delicious, creamy mozzarella texture and flavor. And then finally, 3/4 cup of Parmigiano Reggiano. That's gonna give you that funk. It's gonna give you that salty kick. It's gonna give you maybe even a little umami. So toss that together. The other thing the Parmigiano does is it dries out the cheese mixture. One thing I've noticed is when you mix mozzarella that's freshly shredded, they just kind of stick. But that Parmigiano almost acts like, well, honestly, what cellulose and potato starch that they put in cheese to keep it from sticking. Isn't it nicer if your anti-caking agent is just cheese? Cheese mixture is ready. Our dough balls have arisen. They smell unbelievable. Yeasty, a little sweet. They've gotten some fermentation to them. Dust your work surface. Just gonna dust one of those with flour on the top. Look at this thing, dude. It's so soft, it's so luscious. Now I'm gonna work this out a little bit first, and then we'll put it on the pizza peel and then finish working it. So, very simple. You're gonna take a fist and you're gonna press it out just to get that initial shape. We've got a little bit of a border here. You're gonna stretch it and pull it, stretch it and pull it. All right, use flour as needed. Don't let it get sticky, it's fine. Put this on your fists and then you're gonna kind of rotate the pizza dough around. What this is gonna do is it's just gonna help let gravity stretch the dough out. Now for the true test. Okay, we're at about 12 there and 13 there. So we just need to widen her out here and here, we're almost there. Boom, 14, 14, 14. Okay, we got a 14-inch pie right here. We got a nice little border around the edge. We're gonna a little semolina to a pizza peel. Then we're just gonna drag our little guy on there. The semolina acts as like ball bearings, so it slides around on the peel. All right, and now we're gonna sauce this bad boy. So sauce, and you're just gonna spread that out. Starting from the center, kind of rotating your way out. Finally, a generous layer of your cheese. She's ready to go in the oven. Now to use a home oven, you're gonna open up your oven, place a pizza stone in the oven. It's cold, it's off. Close, and set it to the hottest temperature it can get. Oh, you might be wondering, Josh, why is your shirt a different color? New merch, buddy. Bread. Is that the brand? No, this is just to represent the love of bread that I have, and you probably have too. Who doesn't love bread? There's bread on the back, and a beautiful poem written about how great bread is. You should get it, the link's in the description. That said, this oven needs to be 500 to 550 Fahrenheit, preheat it for 1 hour, then you can load it up. Now we're gonna bake that puppy at 550 degrees Fahrenheit or 287 Celsius, convection for 7 to 8 minutes. Now about 4 minutes in, you're gonna rotate your pizza 180 degrees, close the door, leave it in for the remaining amount of time, and then finally, broil it on high for 1 more minute. Now once that bad boy comes out, immediately hit the edges with a light drizzle of the nicest extra virgin olive oil you got, maybe a little drizzle on the pie itself, and cut your fresh baked pizza into about 8 slices. First of all, crust. We've done it. The flavor is exactly what I want it to be. It's got that salty, rich, cheesy flavor, and the mixture of cheeses that are in this give you the chew from the low moisture mozzarella. But that full fat mozzarella gives you that almost like brown butter, New York pizza shop, cooked down, caramelized cheese flavor, a little bit of Parmigiano Reggiano for a little twist of, Josh made this. And then of course the dough is beautifully seasoned. That tomato is only half cooked, meaning you get a little bit of that fresh tart tomato flavor, but also it's slightly reduced, so it's got that sweetness coming out. And this took more attempts to figure out the baking process than you could possibly imagine. We went to pizza oven, then back to regular oven, then back to pizza oven, and realized that a home oven can actually produce New York pizza. This is not as good as Scar's. I can honorably say that, but I can say it is 70% of the way there without having to fly all the way to New York. And doing it yourself at home, the more you do this, the better you can get. Dare I say, could you get to 100% after a few practice rounds? I've only made this pizza a couple of times and I'm happy with how well it turns out. You know what to do. Get your home oven, just go get a pizza stone. Just call it a day. It's a one-time investment. That being said, subscribe. Love you. Bye.